Minister Vaishnaw, a minister who is currently handling some of the most important portfolios in the Government of India: Union Minister for Communications, Union Minister for Information Technology, as well as the Minister for Railways, a member of the Rajya Sabha representing Odisha since 2019. A very warm welcome to the Business Today, Tech Today Congress, Mr. Minister. This is the first such event by the India Today group, and very clearly an event where all of us are very keen to hear your thoughts on multiple subjects and multiple portfolios in your with you, and obviously some of those, Mr. Minister, is what you're going to be talking about. Warm welcome once again.
My heartiest congratulations for organizing this very nice, very comprehensive Tech Today gathering. I'm very thrilled to see so many, the brightest and the best of the technology world are today present here. Congratulations for this.
Thank you very much. Let me begin by asking you about India's digital future. Ashwini ji, the Modi government has completed 9 years in office. As you look back, what have been the biggest achievements of the government? Because a lot has been done as far as Digital Bharat is concerned. And how would you describe the journey that you yourself have also been involved in over the past several years, Ashwini ji?
If you ask me in one sentence, the fundamental change which has happened is technology has been democratized. Technology has reached the last person in the society. Technology has today permeated so well in multiple sectors. So let's take the example of India Stack. Imagine 10 years back when the country was kind of coming out of a very severe economic situation. When Prime Minister Modi ji took the responsibility of the country, he focused on multiple initiatives, and Digital India was one of them. So the technology stack which got developed over the last 9 years and got used by people over the last 9 years has made a significant difference. The UPI system today, smallest of the small payment is being made by UPI, large payments also being made by UPI. New digital credit solutions are getting built over it. The Aadhaar and the India Stack combined are being used for developing solutions in healthcare sector, in logistics. ONDC is another big platform which is bringing empowerment to the small and medium enterprises. So in a sense, one complete suite of technologies which is today bringing lots and lots of benefits to the general, every common family in the country.
Ashwini ji, let me try and take some of those specifics that you have just mentioned and address them one by one. The first part is obviously the communication backbone that has been built in the country, and we are amongst the few select countries where we have such a robust network that is underway. There is also an indigenous manufacturing attempt. There is also talk of 6G. I want you to tell our audience here and our viewers in terms of the communication infrastructure and the cutting edge technology that has been deployed, how would you describe where India stands at this point of time?
That's a very important one. In last 9 years, so much progress has happened in the telecom sector. The sector has come out of deep issues, deep problems, and today it has become a vibrant, growing, investment-driven sector. So 4G and 5G technology stack that India has developed, again we followed the same principle. The core has been developed by CDOT and the radio network has been developed by private players. So in a sense, we have created an ecosystem where we have created this PPP model, public-private partnership model, by which very complex solutions can be created in a very trusted and transparent manner. So 4G, 5G technology stack has already started getting deployed, and almost 20 countries in the world have shown their interest in importing this solution to their countries, to their telecom service operators. I also would like to mention the 5G rollout. Last year, 1st October, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, he launched 5G in the country, and within a short time frame of just about 8 months, we have already covered 200,000 sites, 2 lakh sites in a very short period, and without taking any names, one of the largest countries in the world, they could reach about 1 lakh, and we are at 2 lakh sites today. We are doing about 1 site a minute. 1 site a minute is getting commissioned. That's the pace at which 5G is getting commissioned. And by the end of this year, hopefully a very large part of the country would already be covered. So overall, developing technology, rolling out the leading edge technologies, and preparing for the next growth cycle. So already we have more than 100 patents in 6G. And our Prime Minister has given us a very clear target. We should become leaders in 6G. So developing lots of subcomponents, the antenna system, the innovations in radio, the innovations in signal processing, many of these things we are working simultaneously, and 6G India will emerge as one of the key contributors to the world.
Mantriji, in terms of the 6G ecosystem that you just touched upon, we earlier had sessions about 5G and whether 5G was, how will the ecosystem develop?
So globally, the whole world is looking at 6G in its inception phase at this point of time. 6G, what would 6G be? How would it look like? What are the parameters? What are the technical specifications? These are the things on which work is going on all over the world. It appears from discussions at ITU and other international fora, it appears that 6G will become a commercially deployable technology by 2029. That is why we should start today, so that by the time the technology standards are getting prepared, we are also part of the game, we have a seat on the table, and we become a major contributor.
Well, that's a good point. While we are still rolling out 5G, we are also working towards 6G, and earlier the better. I want to take up the issue of manufacturing, and this is a point that has come up during the day at the Tech Today Congress, several comments being made about how important manufacturing was, including, for example, in the semiconductor sector. And over 20 years ago, I'm reminded when calling party pays was introduced, almost to the same time. Where do we stand as far as manufacturing is concerned, this drive towards Atmanirbhar Bharat in the entire electronics system, including mobile handsets, semiconductors, eventually? What is the scope?
See, 10 years back, electronics manufacturing was practically negligible. Today we have crossed a major milestone of $100 billion, $105 billion to be precise. So it's a huge jump. And not only mobile phones, but various deep tech, high tech devices. For example, in the telecom sector, very high speed, high capacity routers, radio equipment, very sophisticated radio equipment, very sophisticated microwave equipment, E-band radios. All these things are now designed in India, manufactured in India, and quite a large consignment is being exported out of the country to Europe, to US, to Japan. So that kind of process has set in today, and it's a very exciting journey, because electronics manufacturing was almost 17% CAGR over the last 7 years, 8 years. So at this pace, if we grow, we are all set to be a $300 billion manufacturing country over the next 4-5 years.
$300 billion, that's a very big number. Let's move on from telecommunication to another big portfolio that you have, which is IT. And within that, I want to come to the semiconductor issue that we have touched upon earlier. There's been a big effort, a PLI scheme. That PLI scheme has been revamped as well. Where do we stand as far as our efforts are concerned for semiconductor Atmanirbharta? As far as semiconductors are concerned, the importance doesn't need to be repeated. It is very crucial for our long-term ambitions to become an economic superpower.
Very good progress has been made. 15th December 21 is when the Cabinet and Honorable Prime Minister approved the semiconductor program. 1st Jan 2022, we uploaded the policy, and within a short time frame, we have been able to convince the entire world that the ecosystem which is required for a good, healthy semiconductor industry is already started taking shape in the country. So, for example, talent is a very big point. The industry says that semiconductor industry is today $660 billion globally. It will become $1 trillion by 2030. This will require 1 million additional talent. So our policy was probably among those very few policies which focused on talent as a key strategic intent. So within a short time frame, we have tied up with 106 universities, including global universities like Purdue, where we are developing talent. We have courses which are focused on semiconductor, BTech courses, MTech courses, PhD programs, and the clean room and other operational talent kind of talent. So all those things we have developed, and this is being highly appreciated by the entire semiconductor industry. Second, making sure that the very complex, about 250 items, right? Very complex gases, chemicals, specialty chemicals, how they have to be handled. All those companies we have got connected, we have understood their requirements, and we are, in a sense, addressing all the points that needs to be addressed for getting them into India. Third, one of the sites that we have selected, Dholera, that site absolutely fits into for a major semiconductor complex to be created there. For example, Hsinchu in Taiwan, which is semiconductor capital in a sense, that is 4,500 acres. In Dholera, we have earmarked 10,000 acres for semiconductor development. Second, it is served by 5 large ports. Third, it is being served by 3 international airports. Fourth, it will be fed by 20,000 megawatts of green energy. Now these things are noticed by the people because everybody is worried about scope 1, scope 2 and scope 3 emissions. So 20,000 megawatt green power available for this complex makes a very big difference. So the way we are approaching, and all the state governments are supporting, other state governments have also taken many steps for developing their semiconductor ecosystems. So in a sense, our country is today, India is being seen as the next big semiconductor destination as the industry grows. Then comes the point of cost. If 100 is the cost of manufacturing in Taiwan, the other geographies which are rolling out large semiconductor programs, I won't take any names, are at least 150, 140 kind of cost. Whereas India is like 80 at the cost. So very high quality talent, good policy support and lower cost. What else do you need for developing a very large industry? So that's the way we are thinking. The global experts have all, recently I went to US and met 45 companies, and all of them they had full understanding of our program. They were very happy with our step-by-step approach. They were very clearly guiding us that don't make mistakes that other people have made. Don't rush through. Focus on making sure that the entire ecosystem is in place as you grow up in the value chain of semiconductors.
What more announcements can we expect in this regard, Ashwini ji, as far as
Yes, we
semiconductor
can.
is
We
concerned?
will have very big announcements in the near future. I would not be, it would be imprudent to make any announcements here, but stay tuned.
Well, semiconductors is a very fascinating subject, and earlier we had a very power-packed panel talk about the potential of semiconductors and how it could create a massive amount of jobs in the country. Forget the technology; it's also about the labor-intensive nature of parts of that industry and how Indians could do very well in that. Let me now get on to another point, and this is something that this audience here uses, our viewers are using, and are very proud about, which is the unified payment infrastructure, UPI. And as far as UPI is concerned, it's not just Indians who are using it. A lot of countries overseas seem to be interested in it. In the past, this has come up. What more can you share with us in this regard?
So it was actually a very good development. And see, about 20, 25 countries are talking to us. No, actually, now more than 30. More than 30 countries are speaking to us about what exactly is India's stack. And in G20, India's stack is one of the key components of discussion. In the SCO, the digital public infrastructure, the concept as well as what we have developed has been accepted formally. So the entire world has accepted the approach that India adopted towards technology and its democratic spread. So when Japan evaluated it, they found that the system is very robust. The settlements happen in less than 2 seconds on an average, and a large population can be covered using this solution. And it's very easy to use. So all these factors together, and actually the Japanese government has given a patent to our UPI, by the way. There is a Japanese patent for our UPI which has been granted. So all these factors combined helped in this decision, and we have already started working with the Japanese government for having their implementation in of the UPI stack.
Okay. What about the further progress as far as the India stack is concerned? I believe several new developments are
See, the approach has got very standardized now, and the model has got proven. In this model, we can create population scale solutions, and we can involve a large number of ecosystem players. Large number of stakeholders can be involved. So we are taking this approach now to health sector, to logistics sector, to e-commerce. So in our approach is basically no single or no few in any sector. A few companies should not have dominance on the technology. It should be democratic. It should be inclusive. It should reduce the cost of transaction. It should not create disproportionate profits for anybody. It should basically make sure that it creates significant value for common citizens.
Okay. One of the other things that has come through the day at the Tech Today Congress is also in parts to do with the policy environment, the need for regulation, and a lot of work and progress that has happened in this regard. But I also want you to reflect on the topic of artificial intelligence. A lot has been. What are your views really as far as artificial intelligence is concerned? There are, at one end, it is the technology that can drive rapid transformation. At the other end, there is a section of people who are saying we need a regulation. There are also fears in the Indian context that that it may lead to some sort of problems. What do you have to say on that?
Look, AI has huge potential for sure, right? And it has been there for many years now. So many different solutions we have seen which have a part of the solution is AI, right? AI, machine learning. The way AI has progressed and the applications which have come up recently has thrown a lot of serious concern about what would be the future of AI, what would be the future of humanity, how social concerns and technology should play out. These are concerns which the whole world is today debating. we certainly will have to put some boundary conditions and some regulatory guardrails for AI. And this every society in the world is looking at. In our government's view, we have always promoted innovation. We have always focused on using technology for the good of the people. So we will like to create a balance where the power of the technology can be put into good use, while the harm that can come from this technology can be controlled. That's the approach we will follow.
Okay, that's an important point. But one of the other fears that Indians have, and we have a huge demographic burden. Ashwini ji, you will agree with me on that. A lot of people need jobs in this country. Is AI a problem as far as jobs are concerned? How do you view this as far as this very important and touchy subject is concerned?
So the overall impact of AI on entire society and economy is yet to be fully evaluated. We need to fully understand what will be the impact, what kind of job losses are likely to happen, which are the sectors which will have big impact. And then we have to take this comprehensive view. We also need to take all the stakeholders and especially all the entire political spectrum on same page so that the country comes to a conclusion as a united voice. This is something which is too important to be uh, debated without coming to a final conclusion as a one team, one India kind of philosophy. So I think we'll have to work together between all the different shades of political and the industrial and the different professions and different stakeholders in the society. All will have to come together to find a good solution to it.
Will there be a necessity for a broader global dialogue when it comes to AI regulation? Because AI is again a transnational subject. Some companies are doing work which will impact people all across the world. And how much really do you think is there a necessity for global conversation on fixing the AI debate?
This will be a global dialogue. This certainly will be a global dialogue. At G20, at G7, every large forum is today debating this and coming to a almost universal conclusion that will require proper global understanding and global same voice for addressing this new development. So certainly it will be a global thing. And just by the way, on crypto, India's stand has got vindicated over the last few months. Whatever developments have happened, India's stand has really got vindicated.
From a global subject like artificial intelligence to domestic regulations, various policies in place, a digital bill in the works. What can you share with us?
Okay, so we are creating a very comprehensive regulatory structure where telecom, digital, citizens' rights, all these things are being placed in a proper framework. So the entry of digital economy is telecom. So a very comprehensive, modern, a new, very easily, very simple words, and looking at a technology agnostic use, having proper framework for spectrum allocations, all those things are getting drafted, and the first draft was placed for consultation. We received many inputs, and now the final draft is on its verge of getting uh, going for a cabinet approval, right? So telecom bill on the first is the first pillar. The second pillar is the digital personal data protection bill. Now this addresses the rights, citizens' rights, the right to privacy, which was upheld by the Honorable Supreme Court. It addresses that. Now this cuts across all the different layers of technology. It's a horizontal. Then comes the Digital India Bill. Now, so many new technologies are coming up, so many new developments are happening. How do we address these developments? Can we create a legislative framework which is adaptive to such changes, rapid changes in technology? That's the big thought process behind Digital India Bill. Second, today users are, technology is such an integral part of our lives that users are dependent, citizens are dependent on various technologies for multiple functions, for multiple services. Now, how do we make sure that within this entire ecosystem, users are protected? So, user protection is a key part of Digital India and the other two bills that we are currently working on. So, in a sense, all the three bills together would create a modern, a good comprehensive, and a rapidly evolving technology space. To regulate that kind of technology space, that kind of speed, that kind of change, we will have a good legal framework.
Ashwini ji, we had a panel of politicians who also spoke about data privacy and what needs to be done. In the past, you have cautioned against blindly copying regulations from overseas and applying them to India. What would you say will be our model?
That's a very important point. Our society is unique. Our social requirements, our social diversity, the way our society is structured, these are very different from any large economy of our size, any large country of our size. So we must evolve our solutions keeping our realities in mind. Yes, we must be open-minded always and learn from wherever we can get a good idea, but we should always shape that idea as per our needs. So that is the thought process which has gone in the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill and in the Telecom Bill, and now that thought, now that very same thought process is getting into the Digital India Bill also. So in a sense, whatever we are doing, we are catering to our needs. We are making sure that we create a template which the world can use.
Okay, a template for the world. Thank you very much, Ashwini ji, for talking with us today at the first BT Tech Today Congress. A clear headline on artificial intelligence and how it needs to be regulated in the Indian context, and a lot of work that you are doing in other areas, which perhaps hopefully we will get a chance to talk to you some other time. But once again, I thank you very much for your time with us today. Thank you very much. With that, it's a wrap on this session. We thank
you.
the
Wish you
Minister
all the best.
And over to you, Ayush.